Strap in for one of the wildest rides in bad optics that we've had in quite some time. Take-Two Interactive, the parent company of Grand Theft Auto, Borderlands 3 and the NBA franchise, have taken their FIFA Ultimate Team-like game mechanic and thrown in, well, literal gambling machines. And this is all in a game rated for 3-year-olds. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another industry report. Today we've got a pretty darn wild one. We've got, well, very bad monetization practices combined with pretty disgusting brazen imagery that shows really a lack of respect in players. Just a few months ago, Take-Two Interactive's CEO Strauss Zelnick said that loot boxes represented just 3% of their net bookings, and that while they don't believe they constitute gambling, they're not material to their business. Well, given how hard they're going into this element of the NBA franchise, it seems like that might be something that they want to change. And it's also worth noting, this isn't the only bad thing. The NBA franchise has been pretty notorious for its monetization, with NBA 2K19 recently showing people advertisements for actual TV shows during its loading screens. Now, sure, the revenue from that is sure to be dwarfed by My Team, which is their Ultimate Team-like feature, and really the update we have today is how heavily they are juicing that in this year's entry to the series. So, 2K released a trailer for the upcoming game's iteration of My Team. And you know what? It was absurd. It had a pachinko machine, a spin the wheel game, and a full-blown slot machine, all with face cams of streamers looking just absurdly excited, completely losing their minds over these new machines. And right off the bat, it's a terrible look for the series given their past controversy and the timing here, with the discussion of loot boxes and gambling being more in vogue than ever. Of course, the details do matter a lot here. Now, the game is not launched, so things could change, but this is what we know so far. First up, the game's currencies, which as always are rather confusing. You've got virtual currency, this is the main currency of the game, wide range of uses including purchasing My Team card packs. Now, these My Team card packs include all the usual things like players, cosmetics, but also things like goal cards, which can basically give you a challenge to complete that'll give you a reward. Now, that reward could potentially include MT points, which are the game's second currency. Now, MT points, also known as My Team points, are the mainstay of the My Team mode. They can be used to purchase packs, to buy cards from other players in the auction house, and a bunch of other things. So far, it seems like they can only be earned through gameplay in the My Team mode, and they're extremely important if you want a strong team, or at least they were in NBA 2K19, so I assume it will be the same for 2K20. Now, what's problematic here is that the quality of your team, that could impact how many MT points you can earn, and that does further incentivize people to purchase virtual currency to get ahead of the curve. There's then another currency called tokens that was recently added to the franchise, and these tokens can be used to directly purchase players of different quality levels, and basically that's just like it's a whole collection game that you sort of advance your way through. So that's the currencies, but what about all of these new casino games that have really got everyone riled up? What are they? How do they actually work? Well, first we've got Triple Threat. This is a game mode that's been revamped for 2K20. You can select a player lineup and then either face down the enemy online or randoms controlled by the AI, with the AI teams being comprised of cards released thus far. Now, they say this is to give you a new experience every time, but it is also the case that it will give you exposure to the rewards that can be obtained through the pack open. Now, as you play this mode, you accrue wins. They will, rise you up through the prize ladder. Every win will give you a prize, but big milestones like 100 or 1,000 wins will give you super big prizes. Then in multiplayer, you're also rewarded with the slot machine. Yes, literally. You match items on the slot machine to get awards, including tokens and MT points. Triple Threat Online will also give you ball drops. It'll give you drop balls even. Now, these are just balls to put in the in-game pachinko machine. Now, these come from a variety of sources, but yeah, Triple Threat's one of them. They all go into the ball drop machine. Now, this machine is just a super big feature for them. They talked about it a lot. Citing last year's success, they now have 10 boards. The boards, they move through them over time, and the boards have more mechanics. And seriously, when you go through their blog post, it sounds like the patch notes for a pinball game. It's ridiculous seeing that in a basketball game. That's the bit you've got to remember as we go through this. This is a basketball game, and we're sitting here talking about a virtual casino. Now, past that, they've also implemented daily login bonuses. That's, of course, another thing straight out of free-to-play, and these can include cards, MT currency, and tokens, but there's also a weekly one. Yes, a weekly reward for logging in all 7 days. So yeah, dailies and weeklies, they really want you in there hard. It's all about the habit formation. Now, the weekly rewards, they can include getting a spin the wheel that contains a rare card. So yes, you can win wheel spins, ball drops, then you've got the slot machine from Triple Threat, plus the Triple Threat win ladders, plus other things like your daily login bonuses, your weekly login bonuses, challenges, the challenge cards, and things from other modes. There's like another feature called Spotlights as well. Now, a lot of these will give you tokens, and these tokens are used to directly purchase player cards, and they go in hard with the card collection mechanics of this game. So yeah, there's a lot of things there. There's a lot of direct things that do exactly look like casinos. So what does this overall mean here? Because we did a lot of, I spent 3 hours researching this franchise here. So how is this connected? How are the gambling-like things connected to real-world money? What is 2K's plan here? Well, this is where it's interesting. So the prize wheel, the ball drop, and the slot machine, they are not directly connected to virtual currency, which is the one that can be purchased for real-life money. There actually is not a way where these gambling machines in-game directly generate revenue. You can't put real-world money into them, but that's not actually the point here. These machines are quite simply just a way of driving more engagement in the My Team game mode. And it's rather funny. In a casino, you'll get cheap drinks and cheap food to keep you in the casino for longer to spend more. Well, in NBA, the literal casino games are your cheap food and drink. They're the extra rewards to keep you, engaged, which 2K, of course, knows will further drive interest in purchasing card packs with virtual currency. Indeed, the better your players are, the more MT you'll probably be able to earn through all of these mechanics, and that would incentivize you to power up your collection faster. It pretty much worked out that way for NBA 2K19. So why are they going with all these gambling mechanics? Well, it's actually pretty simple. It's multiple layers of overlapping rewards. Now, this is something that fundamentally plays into human psychology, very much so, and it's pretty much the same thing as if you're playing World of Warcraft and you do a whole bunch of quests and turn them in at once, right? It's like progressing along multiple things at the same time. That's very satisfying to people. So in this game, for an example, it's playing Triple Threat, advancing up the win ladder, earning something from spinning your slot machine, and then earning balls for the ball drop game. Basically, their point here is that doing the core gameplay gives the player multiple extra rewards along multiple tracks. That is something that is very psychologically satisfying on a fundamental level, and that is something that would drive more engagement than simply giving the player a reward after a match that, wasn't tied into any other system. Basically, for them, the more layers of currencies and reward mechanics, the more that certain types of players will get sucked into playing the game more and more, and the habit formation will happen. Now, as to why the gambling aesthetics are used, there's a few reasons. Much like card pack openings in games mirroring a real-world physical interaction of opening, like a CCG pack of cards, well, these, casino games, they're games that many people will have played. And also, this is a sports game. Sports and gambling have been tied together pretty much since their conception. This is also a sort of America-centric game in a lot of ways, and as opposed to many places in the world, gambling culture is more of a thing over there in America, what with, Vegas being a pretty large cultural icon. NBA is attempting to piggyback off the pre-established relationship there in order to drive more engagement for the game. Now, sure, they could invent a strange game or strange reward mechanic that people would not already understand, or in this case, they could just use a reward scheme that people already understand. That's what they're doing here. So you can't actually funnel IRL money into the NBA 2K20 slot machine. This quite simply is just a highly juiced reward system. Just playing basketball over and over again, for them, they think that that's just going to get repetitive for their players, but the more overlapping rewards they are, and the more they look, they have physicality and they look satisfying to engage in, then they think that will make the repetitive core task be framed as being in service to a broader goal. In short, they are doing all they can to make every aspect of this game appeal to people on a fundamental psychological level, because at the end of the day, they know that the more you are engaged with that game, the more hours you spend in that game, the more the daily habit formation happens, then the more likely you are to purchase virtual currency to open packs of virtual cards, and that's their real business. Now, of course, they decided to do that in a way that parallels a real-world thing that carries for them terrible optics as viewed by the general gaming audience. But then again, this isn't a game that targets core gamers. Like FIFA, it's targeting a more casual market, one who is less clued in to the type of thing that we're talking about today. Now, there is one very significant problem here. This game has an E for everyone rating. You cannot have simulated gambling or gambling imagery in an E-rated game. So currently, they are violating the ESRB regulations there. So that is something that absolutely does need to be fixed before this game launches. This game should have a teen rating at minimum, because a teen rating is what allows for gambling imagery to be in a game. So this is them using the strong psychological hook of gambling to further drive engagement in their game, but the gambling, like, you know, the prize wheel and stuff, that does not involve actual money being spent directly, and there's no way to cash out. Overall, based on my analysis of this game, the ball drop, prize wheel, and slots would not be in violation of the gambling regulations of just about any country, including the likes of Belgium, because it's pretty much just gambling imagery. If you put that in front of, say, Titan Forging World of Warcraft, it would essentially be the same thing. The part of this game that does violate those regulations is the card pack openings, and that's why you cannot purchase virtual currency in those countries. That's something that has led to the Bellular version of this game's Legendary Edition having different virtual currencies, and the fact that, say, in Belgium and Luxembourg, you cannot purchase virtual currency for real money. So basically, that's our explanation of how this works. As for what I think, well, I think that the optics are terrible here. Using gambling imagery in a 3+ rated game is a massive problem. Now, I find the gambling imagery to be very off-putting myself, but that's not the core problem here. The core problem is just like FIFA Ultimate Team. It is that players, you know, cards come in loot boxes, right? Just like they did in NBA 2K19, just like they do in FIFA Ultimate Team. So this is a case of the, like, gambling imagery. That's a really, really bad look, and it's good that they're catching flack for that, because a lot of people are just thinking, you know what, a lot of this gambling stuff, it is just inherently exploitative. We don't like it. That is a good thing. But fundamentally, the big problem here is the same as what the big problem was in NBA 2K19 and the same that it is in FIFA Ultimate Team. It is that you can purchase those virtual currency and then you can put that into the card openings. That's the big problem here. It's one that has existed in this genre for years, and that's really the thing that we've got to rail against. Now, if there was an update that meant that virtual currency could be used to purchase additional spins of the wheel, then that would make it in violation of the Belgium and Luxembourg gambling regulations. But right now, it's not something that's in violation of that. However, there's a pretty fine line there. And actually, with that fine line, they're far closer to that with their other game, Grand Theft Auto 5, with its casino. Now, that casino does limit you to, I think we calculated about £1.50 every 60 minutes or 30 minutes in your maximum spend, but that game far more directly lets you put real-world money into the gambling mechanic, although they did put a restriction in there. I think because they know if they took the piss massively with that, they would just get, the government would come down on them like a ton of bricks. That said, they're still very open to scrutiny on that one. So overall, there you go, a major news story. That is our breakdown of it. I would love to hear what do you think about this down in the comments. Please let me know. And with that, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.